Welcome to Fishing for Bees. This is my YouTube channel on swarm catching and beekeeping. Well, this is my first video of the year. It's January 30th. It's about 44 degrees. This is our swarm catch holding yard. So everything here other than the 10 frame was a swarm catch from 2024. And looking back on my notes and looking at things for 2024, we had some problems with our swarm catches. Season came early. People were catching early, but I don't think we were getting the queens, the virgin queens that were left behind mated very well. So I had more queen failures this year than I've ever had. No swarm catches that were huge, like the ones I like to see. All of them were just mediocre, some of them small. And the other thing is these were caught all throughout the year, so they're at different stages. Obviously the ones later in the season are harder to take care of or harder to keep alive during the winter. I've had a lot of life events in 2024. We had the passing of someone unexpectedly, and now we're dealing with cleaning things up as far as probate and estates and stuff like that. And since that time, I've also been made the guardian of an adult family member in my family who's been in the hospital for a couple months. Those are not beekeeping related, but the reason why I bring them up is because life happens and we have to be realistic about our time to give to bees. I have no regrets as far as where my time went and maybe the time that wasn't spent with the bees. One of the big reasons is because these are all free bees. This yard, the other yard, I've never bought bees. I've never purchased a queen. So I have no invested money in any of these bees. Obviously, I have invested money in equipment and time, but I've never purchased bees. So that being said, I think this is going to be a very humbling year. This yard looks pretty bad. We have some good signs out in front. There's a lot of poop spots on the snow. That's a good sign. That means they're flying. We do have some activity at the doors. These probably were not tilted enough, meaning tilted forward, so that the water could run out. I'm going to fix that today. One of the other things I've done in the winter that I forgot to do is I pushed everything close together to try and retain that heat, help the neighbors heat each other. I don't wrap, and I didn't do that this year, as you can see. So again, I think this is going to be a really humbling year. I've always said that I'll show you the good, the bad, the ugly. And we've had a lot of successes and a lot of good, so this might be the year that we see the alternative. So I'm going to get inside here. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to look at our Hive Alive fondant hack inside this one, where we used a repurposed pizza table. I don't know what they call them. The thing that keeps your pizza box lid from smashing onto your pizza. We use those with the Hive Alive fondant instead of purchasing the Hive Alive fondant product that they have to allow better access for the bees. I don't have a 3D printer. It's just something I thought of. I thought would work, and I don't purchase bees. I believe in recycling, repurposing, and reusing. So we'll see if that worked. I'm pretty sure it did. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that the colony survived. This colony was on a pollination contract all year. Outside of my bee yards, outside of my area by a significant amount. It lacked in treatments, it lacked in care. It was successful in pollinating a small hobby farm, but as far as its care and due diligence for survival, it lacked. We were compensated financially. I don't think it was necessarily worth the time because of the distance. So we're going to dig inside. Again, we're going to elevate, tilt them a little bit more, probably try and push them together while I'm doing that. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that some bees are alive. So just a quick look before we go inside. That second one in looks terrible. Too much water. The snow on top was melting, dripping on the board. They are tilted enough forward that hopefully no water ran in, but this is what you want to see. And here on the snow, all those little brown spots, those are cleansing flights, and that's good. And, you know, from left to right, from the entrances, there's cleansing flight activity from around the fronts of all the colonies. That doesn't mean one didn't fly over and do its business in front of another colony. So we're going to get inside here. We're going to take a look. If you normally open your colonies to the front, meaning you lift your lid and tilt it forward, be careful this time of year. All that water is going to go on your landing board, and that's not a good thing. So I like to take them back, get all that water going to the back. So we use quilt boxes. We have our bedding inside of here. This one was very dry on the front, but I didn't like the way it looked. There you go. We're off to a good start. And they haven't consumed a ton of that fondant, so very good. Make sure that this bedding is past your ventilation holes. Push down. So we tend to helicopter parent our bees, meaning we probably try and do too much, or it keeps us up at night, especially in the winter when it's 10 degrees out with a wind chill in the 20s. That's just part of beekeeping. We worry about our bees. So again, these lids are wet, and I don't want them on the landing board. I don't want that moisture inside. Not good. So this one lacked treatment, as I said, because it wasn't in my yards. Something we tried with a pollination contract. You can see that it looks like the fondant, they had better access to it. Unfortunately, it looks like the colony might have perished. Seen in my videos in the past, I like to get in them and clean them out to preserve and capture all those resources, that drawn comb, any honey. One of the things I'll tell you is just slow down a little bit. I've gotten in there too quickly with my initial assessment that the colony has perished, only to find that they're in a deep, deep torpor and the bees are still alive, and now I've pulled frames thinking that I'm dealing with a dead out, and I was not dealing with a dead out. So slow down a little bit. I'm not going to dig and pull frames. It doesn't look good. You know, we've made that determination. It doesn't look good. There's no evidence of live bees in here. That doesn't mean that somewhere deeper on those frames there isn't live bees. You know, yeah, they're up in the top box of this one, but they could be still alive in there, and if you start pulling out frames even on a 44-degree day, you got problems. This one, I really triggered them. They're coming out now. Even on days like today, you should have a smoker lit. That's why I don't. Was a dead bee. Dead bees up on the top. Not much to see. We'll just say it doesn't look good. One of the things that I also can feel is this bedding is cold. You usually pull that bedding out. If there's live bees in there, it's warm. So we started out good. Things aren't looking good. Though. I tilted that one forward. Fortunately, it wasn't that wet. Bees in here. I don't want to leave that off too long, but I want to show you something. Very few live bees in here. We see a problem at the top, though. That's the inability to get out and do cleansing flights and them pooping inside. And it doesn't look very good, and that is not a good sign, but there is live bees. One of the things that can cause diarrhea, dysentery, is the colony on the inside being too moist. These need to be tilted forward better, and I'll take care of that today with these right here. That's why these are here. Put those in the back, tilt them forward. One had a lot of problems. We had videos on it. They just didn't build out. It was a later season catch. They couldn't build out to 10 frames, so then I, late in the season, dropped them down to 5. Nothing good to show you in there. I think this one might have been done before winter. So not good. 5, 2 confirmed alive, 40% survival in this yard. I'm really pleased with this. And I will show you that I'm shocked. That's the worst landing board. That is terrible. I have got to get some lean on these, especially this one. Very, very foolish mistake on my part. Thought I had enough lean, but I never brought a level up here to see the degree. I was just eyeballing it, and I don't think I did a good enough job. Nothing to see in the top of that one, which is surprising because I thought I saw activity at the door of this one, the upper entrance. You'll see moisture underneath the lid if they're alive. Again, I'm not going to tear them apart. I've tore them apart and regretted it and caused the bees to struggle. All right, so there we have it. 58% survival rate in the whole yard. Little better than that if we don't count the one that wasn't a 2024 swarm catch. So if we're just, anyways, it's not great. It's not terrible with swarm catches. It'd be not good for my production yard, put it to you that way. One thing I want to touch on, putting this sticker in after the fact when all of these are established is incredibly hard. I could cut them into independent pieces that fit underneath one nuke, but I found that that gets really sloppy and things fall around, so I like to string them together. So example over here, these 3 are tied together on one, and then over here, these 4 are tied together on one. One of the things I will do in the spring when we clean out this yard, when we give away free bees, if we're fortunate enough to do that, or we move these up to a production yard, I like to empty out this yard. When this yard is empty, I am going to attach these to the back frame, the back hive stand board. So it's there permanently. Put screws in it. I'm going to run this yard with an extreme tilt to the front. As long as they're level from left to right, it won't affect my comb. I use starter strips. I have plenty of videos on that. The lean towards the front won't matter as far as drawing comb. The cells will be a little bit canted, but it'll be fine. So we moved everything closer together. We got more of a tilt on it, I will say. Surviving colony down here. Water flowed right out the front of it. And that one, I don't think I had any tilt on it. Those are foolish mistakes on my part. I thought that I designed the hive stand enough that it already had a tilt built into it, and it wasn't enough. Water was still pooling. You know, board's warp, doesn't flow. So I'm glad I got it done. Today was the day to get it done. We could be heading into more cold snaps. Consumption-wise, no one needs any fondant. I got to feel the weights on all of these while putting the runners on the back to tilt them, and the weights are really, really good. So losses happen in beekeeping. It's just one of the things that we have to deal with. And yes, when the temperatures are 10 degrees and 20 below wind chill, it keeps us up in Michigan and in the north, but I'm pretty happy with that. It's better than I thought. I mean, I honestly thought I was going to come out here and have one or two that survive. So far, we're not through the winter yet. We still got many, many more weeks and months ahead of us, but so far so good in the Swarm Catch holding yard. I appreciate you coming along for the ride today. I hope your bees are well.